Hi, my name is Luke McCormick, and for this video assignment, we'll be talking about the difficulties in elderhood and being a counselor caring for somebody who's a caregiver for somebody at the end of life. So obviously the big difficulties when you think of elderhood would be, the cognitive decline and physical decline. You aren't able to move around as effectively as you did when you were younger, and just cognitively in some cases people tend to decline as they get older. So those are obviously two mental and physical big disadvantages of getting older. And then just being more susceptible to sickness and illness is obviously not that's negative of elderhood. So it's another challenge that elderly people can face. And then, in some cases there are, once you get older and the people that you grew up with are also getting older, you might have to deal with some harsh realities that, could lead to depression or stress of, family members passing away or friends passing away. And then something that is it's somewhat scary, but it can be positive, is once you get older, you're in the stage where you reflect on your life and everything you've done or haven't done. And Wong states, at some point during the later stages of life, we begin to think of time not as an unlimited time to live, but as time left to live. So, as Wong's stating here, during that later stage, that's when you reflect on everything. So ideally, you would be able to look back on your life and it would be fulfilled, and it was a fulfilling, well-lived life. In some cases, people can be filled with regret and potentially, anger and bitterness, which would be negative. So that's scary. It really, once you get to that point, you're kind of running out of time. So you're reflecting on your life and seeing if you've done what you wanted to, or if there were a bunch of things that you didn't do. So, that can be scary and the negative of becoming elderly. And there's lots of good, there are good, it's not all bad. Like, when you get old, you might have kids, a family, or there can be good things, but these are just the main things that tend to be problematic for people when they enter that stage of life. And then the second question that was posed in this discussion was wondering, what two responsibilities we would isolate for a counselor counseling somebody, a caregiver, managing a loved one at the end of life. And the two I chose, first was from the ADC 2004, was that ethical, respectful, and considerate behavior is expected of members at all times among and between professional associates, whether they are members or not members. So to me, that obviously means that when people are in these critical stages of life for them where they could potentially be, shifting for them in some ways, it's important to always be respectful and maintain that considerate behavior. And then the other one that I thought was important was that, which I think is the responsibility of the counselor in a situation like this, is to be providing professional emotional support and practical guidance, because the emotional support, you should be there to support them and help them, throughout the process to feel better. And then the practical guidance is more so maybe referring them to a support group where other people are going through similar things or something like that, where they can be around people in every day that are suffering or going through a similar process and hardship. So those were the two that really stood out to me. And I believe that those two are very important because it's a very fragile time for people in that position. So I think that being ethical and respectful and considerate is huge, and then providing that emotional support and practical guidance are definitely two major factors in what would be effective responsibilities for a counselor counseling somebody in that circumstance. So that's all I had, but thank you guys very much.